Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. We've got lots of Mandela effects to cover today. The first one is going to be from Julie Holcomb, one of the very common commenters on my channel. She comes up with a lot of Mandela effects, and she found this one. It's called reticulite, and it came out of the Hawaii volcano. I have not heard of it, and I'm a rock hound, so that's interesting. Oops. Looks like my tab crashed. Hold on a sec. It's my second computer, so I don't think you'll see that problem. Okay, so reticulite. It looks like gold, actually, but it's not supposed to be gold. It's the exact color of gold, which I think is pretty interesting. I wonder if later it might turn into something more precious since it's so beautiful. Also, Pele's hair. That weird hair-like stuff that they say comes out of volcanoes now. That also is new for me. So reticulite is supposed to be like pumice, except for even more open air, and it won't even float. Let me see if I can get my live stream back up over here so I can see the comments. Live stream. Now, I just rebooted that computer and it crashed already. It's not a good sign. It's my second computer that I use to read the comments. Events. Technical difficulties at the start of the stream. Never a good sign. So this is not my normal hour or day, but I don't think that it conflicts with any of the other ME24 streamers. I just had too many Mandelas. I wanted to get out a bunch of them. I had too many to talk about to wait till Wednesday. So Wednesday I'll still do my normal stream, assuming, nothing bad happens or anything. Okay. Come on, computer. All right, there we go. Okay, so Shari D was saying that apparently Scarab Performance is having a broadcast about Fiona Broome, who is getting interviewed by Coast to Coast AM radio tonight. And I think Coast to Coast starts in an hour, and she said it'll be the second half, so I think that'll be about 2 hours from now, I'm guessing. People correct me if I'm wrong. So it should be perfect timing. I should be finished about then, and then you guys can go watch that show, and so can I. Okay, so anyway, this really pretty reticulite, you can see. Here's some images of it. Really beautiful stuff. Now, I heard a little bit about this on the news last week or two, even maybe just the last couple days, really, about some kind of a material, and they called it reticulite, and it was just crumbles if you touch it, so it's not supposed to be very long lasting. Here's some of that Pele's hair. I should show some of that too. But basically, I never heard of this. I'm a rock hound. This stuff's beautiful. People would be collecting it. It would be a big deal. I mean, look at that. Beautiful. I'm pretty sure I covered Pele's hair before, but I'm just going to run over it real quick because it's so interesting. Pele's hair is this, it looks like hair, but it's actually threads of volcanic glass. I heard about this about 2 years ago. First came in, it was gray colored like you would expect obsidian to be, and then suddenly it turned gold, and now there's just humongous ton meisters of it. It's all over the place now. So anyway, beautiful stuff. But anyway, so that is the Pele's hair. April Renee 22. I was literally wondering when your live stream was. April, I usually stream on Wednesday nights for me, which is Thursday mornings for London. You can check my previous live streams and it'll say weekly. This tonight is actually an extra live stream just because I have too many Mandela effects stacked up. And I was pretty wide awake tonight, so I thought I'd do a bonus stream. I'll still do my Wednesday night stream, though. Okay. So now we're kicking along here. There's the Pele's hair. This one I heard about a few years ago, but the story just kind of keeps growing. It's Moscow's metro dogs. Basically, in Moscow, they're saying these dogs, they're strays, and they get on the subway and they use the subway system and they have the stops memorized, and they just travel around Moscow by going on the subway. So that one is pretty weird. I've just never heard of dogs having that kind of a I mean, dogs are intelligent. I love dogs. I have one, but I've never heard of anything like that until 2 years ago. So, at first they said they just get on them and beg for food. Now they're saying that they know all the stops. They said some of them just travel around for fun. Some of them travel around specific regions. Some just get on for food. Now they're saying they're having to post guards to try to shoo away the dogs. I don't know, it's an interesting story. So the story is that somehow they're trying to tie it in with the kind of the collapse of the Russian economy. But, I mean, these were all strays anyway, so who knows. Anyway, pretty weird. Let's see what we got going on over here. Yes, you had this before, but it was not that shiny gold before. Shari D, really? There's been a lot of shifts and a lot of weirdness, but the last time I actually had it on, it was, for me, gold. I had known about it when it was still gray, and then it turned gold, and that, I believe, was even before I knew of the Mandela effect. I just remember seeing it gray and going, oh, well, that makes sense. It's gray like obsidian is. And then suddenly it was gold, and I remember thinking, oh, I thought it was gray, but I did not know about the ME then, so it wasn't till later that I figured out about that change. Okay, so next one. Doink. This one is weird. Anybody who ever watched much anime or watches manga is going to kind of laugh. They're saying that we have erectile tissue in our nose, and if you take Viagra, you might get nosebleeds because the nose tissue responds as well as other tissue. So that's like a trip and a half for me. I'm just kind of really laughing here. I think this is another example of the Mandela having a sense of humor or planning ahead or something, because there's always this joke in Japan that if you see something sexy, you'll get a nosebleed. And so apparently it's true now. I mean, everybody I know just used to be like, huh, where did they get that from? But now that's what happens. So the anti-impotence drug Viagra may cause severe nosebleeds. British doctors have warned. Okay, so they're saying there's erectile tissue in the nose, and that you can also get this thing, supposedly it's supposed to be kind of well known, and it's called honeymoon rhinitis, which is like honeymoon stuffy nose, is a condition in which the sufferer experiences nasal congestion during sexual intercourse. Okay, never heard of it. Okay, so then looking into that, I discovered this. Now they're saying, and I had heard this about 4 or 5 years ago in sort of the kind of the holistic medicine circles, and at that time I could not find any evidence, scientific evidence, that it was true, but apparently now it's accepted that there's a nasal cycle where half of your nose takes care of the breathing for a few hours, and then the other half takes care of the breathing for and it's supposed to be like 2 hours per side. You can see this image here. They're saying that the erectile tissue, sometimes they call it the turbinates, will clog up one side and open the other for a couple hours, and then it'll switch back and forth. So, okay, that's another super weird one for me. Let's see. It's a physiological congestion of the nasal concha, also called the nasal turbinate, due to selective activation of one half of the autonomic nervous system by the hypothalamus. You get the image. It's pretty extreme there. I know there's a lot going on with the nasal passages now. I mean, you can see a lot of the space is a lot bigger. The shape is different. You've got that bone over the top. You have a little bone under here that you didn't used to have. And I've also seen a lot of things on lately making it viral where people are putting things in their mouth and yanking them out of the nose. Now, in my old timeline, you could get water to go through, but that was about it. But now it looks like you can put all kinds of big stuff through there. So the passages must be bigger or something. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Okay, so anyways, that's the whole nose thing. This one's a little older, ME, kind of takes place on the other end, but apparently wombats poop in cubes now. I've never heard that before until about a year ago. They're saying that there's these dry cubes. That way the wombats can mark their territory and their cubes won't roll around. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, it was just so weird. I had to put it in. Okay, here's another one. Kinkajou. It's not a monkey. It's not anything that you've ever heard of. This is a procyon. What's neat about these kinkajous is apparently those little feet of theirs can turn all the way around the other way, and they can walk or run backwards. If their feet need to go the other way when they're hanging, they can just reverse them. Now, unfortunately, I could not find any video on it. Maybe that will come later. But the whole idea of this whole reversible everything, I mean, there's just so much of it now. Michael E. Love your videos. You have a pleasant, soothing voice. Thank you. To me, it just sounds normal, so I just have to take your word for it. I always wondered about the nose when I get the blocked nose during a cold, how we get one side blocked and the other unblocked and vice versa. You know, before QP, I would just, whatever side it was laying on, the gravity would clog the side on the bottom. So I used to just flip back and forth. I haven't had nearly as much. I used to have nasal clog problems all the time. I haven't had it in a number of years. So something's different. I don't know. Even when I'm sick, I can usually still breathe through my whole, at least half of my nose, which is nice now. A few Australian animals I never heard of. Quolls. See if I can find those. Oh, Australian. There's so many. Quoll. Oh, there is something called a quoll. Quolls are carnivorous marsupials native to mainland Australia, New Guinea, and Tasmania. Let's take a look at these guys. Oh, cute little things. Speckled. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one. That's cute. Let's see what we got under info. Evolved 15 million years ago. 15 million years ago or 5 months ago? There's the question. They eat smaller mammals. 15 pounds. Huh, cute. You know, a lot of these cute little things are like quickly emerging in the pet trade market. I mean, too quickly, because I've never even heard of them and people already have them as pets. And they're not that vicious, a lot of them. Not like the old wild animals where you really couldn't trust them. And I'm going to have something on that a little later about some surprise pets too. All right, now this one comes from Chris Fairfield, one of the commentators on one of my channels. The Declaration of Independence states, "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Unalienable, or is it inalienable? Because in my timeline, we were endowed with inalienable rights. Here it is unalienable rights. That one, somebody caught that one. Good catch. That was Chris. And I kind of looked this one up. And apparently I'm not the only one thinking of it. Are our rights inalienable or are they unalienable? So supposedly the final version of the Declaration of Independence declares we hold these to be unalienable. So the Declaration is unalienable, and we should always have been saying unalienable if that's in the Declaration. But all my life, everyone said inalienable. And as a kid, I had to be careful I was saying it right because I didn't even know what that meant. So they're saying that the first draft was unalienable, and then the first draft was inalienable, and the final draft was unalienable. Supposedly they mean the same thing, but that's just weird. That's not how it was for me. How did inalienable in early drafts turn to unalienable in final? They're just saying that it was translated that way and when they were copying it, and maybe unalienable was more common. Anyway, I think it's weird that there's a whole article on it. I mean, if it has always been unalienable, then why would anybody be confused anyway? We would have never been saying the other one. Nobody would read this article because it would be so boring. Wally World is now Wally World. Wally World, wasn't that just in that movie? Wally World. Unfortunately, Wally World, San Diego. National Lampoon's Vacation. The movie's popularity gave rise to an ongoing cultural running game using the name Wally World as a nickname for Walmart. Right, in this one, they're still calling... Oh, weird. They use both of them in here. Let's see if I can get down there. Okay, there they call it Wally World. But then later when they're saying that it's used as a nickname for Walmart, the movie's popularity gave rise to an ongoing cultural running gag of using the name Wally World, spelled as Wally without an E, as a nickname for real-life retailer Walmart. I don't know why you'd have to change the spelling. If anything, you'd just say Wally Mart. Yeah, unfortunately, I just didn't really watch that show, and although I'm very familiar with people calling Walmart Wally World as a joke, because some of my friends do it, I never knew the spelling, so I can't comment on that. I do think that it is interesting that they're saying that people would change the name for Walmart. I just don't really think that's likely. I think they would just leave it the same. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's an ME. I just don't know enough about it to help you on that one, though. Hello, my Mandelian peeps. Hello to you as well. Seems we get a new ME critter every few days now. Yeah. I mean, there's so many. I get to the point where I'm like, oh, that one is new, but it's not as interesting as the other ones, and so I'm not covering it. Yes, my sinus issue is fixing itself in the most profound way along with the rest of my body. 37 years of never healing the way I do and have for the past 2 years. Yeah, when you see yourself changing, as far as I can see, we should be able to heal. I now wonder if maybe if we don't, we have some kind of negativity there or something. I know that sounds really woo-woo, but I mean, if the body can change like that, healing should be possible. So I think I've been really trying to look at, anything that doesn't heal long-term, what's holding it back, because now I know the body can change like that. So, I mean, before we just assumed, oh, it's broken, it can't be fixed, but I can't assume that anymore. There's a bunch back here to read. How about the word a lot? I know for a fact it was one word, money bags, and I remember that same as well as many others timelines. Yes, there's a lot of those, and a lot is one of those. That was a single word for me. I agree with you there. There's a few. Another one is each other. That was one word for me. I still keep forgetting and putting it together. It's not here. That's one I can't remember. I just keep writing it the other way. A lot, which means a yard. Yeah. Yeah, not in this timeline. Horses slept standing up. Yeah, yeah, I remember horses sleeping standing up. Do they not still do that? I remember if they were laying down, they were I remember if they were laying down, they were going to like die. They were sick. They lay down when they require REM sleep. No, no. Before, if they lie down, if you saw a horse down, it would be panic attack time. The thing was sick. Oh, maybe they're stronger now. Their sides can handle laying down. I know they're sitting now. The cows are sitting. Many horses lie down because they feel comfortable. No, no, yeah, that's definitely an ME for me. Used to be, it would be major emergency if a horse was down. They slept standing up. They would even get like harnesses to keep them standing up if they were sick, because if they laid down, they would like suffocate and die. Weird. Paul Jameson, who remembers Houdini dying from drowning? Well, yeah, he survived. Yes. They made that movie on it, and now they're saying the movie was not true and blah, blah, blah. No, he died from drowning. Everybody knew he died from drowning. That stuck in my head because it was such a weird way to go. He died from drowning. I'm thinking that now with the current, the way people can hold their breath for 20 minutes and stuff, I'm thinking one of the reasons he couldn't die from drowning anymore is because he could have held his breath a lot longer. And so the story won't work. And as we continue on, I wonder if we're going to be able to hold our breath a lot longer. There's been a bunch of weird Reddit threads and stuff about people being able to breathe underwater too. And although it's just weird threads, but all these people are saying they remembered breathing underwater when they were a kid. And there's no real evidence to back it at all. But the timing, I think, is suspicious. I mean, in the old days, I would have just blown that off. But there's weird stuff going down with the holding of the breath and stuff. And I think that's why Houdini no longer could die from drowning. I think that we're going to see a lot less drowning deaths now. I mean, it started, maybe 10, 15 years ago where they said, oh, young kids who drown in cold water can live a half hour and stuff. And now, it's just expanding so quickly on how long we can go without air and things like that. So he died from getting punched in the stomach. Yeah, in this timeline, that's the story anyway. We know. I know I can smoke more, Tim Who TV. That's probably not the best usage I can think of to put your increased air into, but horses can sleep like cows when cows sit like dogs. I wasn't an expert on cows, but I thought they slept standing up too. Used to hear about that cow tipping, and I could never really verify. It sounded like it was fake. It didn't seem like you could tip a cow, but the story was that they would sleep standing up and people would tip them for fun. But they would sleep standing up. You never saw them laying down. So probably cows were like horses, but I was not a cow expert. I remember one of the famous magicians bought that thing where Houdini died in, Shari D. Yeah, actually, I have a vague memory of that. Shirley Temple died in my timeline. Yeah, I assume you mean when she was a kid. Same here. Whales sleep vertical. Haha, yes. Did you watch my did you look at my keywords? I was going to talk about that. Oh wait, I talked about that last time. That's what it was. Yes, yes, yes. That was last time. Just like Van Gogh lost his ear at a drunken sword fight. Yes, the new information. Cow tipping totally fake. That was the impression I came up with. I could not find. It seemed like it was one of those jokes that people played and on other people. I just can't see you being able to push over a cow, anyways. Really, Tim, who says cow tipping was real? Even in this timeline, I can't figure it out. So, if cows were sleeping and you just shove them, I don't know. See, I only knew one person who ever said she did cow tipping, and she was a famous liar, and she would totally lie to you for as a joke. So I could never tell if she really went cow tipping or she was just blowing smoke. Movie Tommy Boy went cow tipping. Yeah, I know, but just because it was on, a goofy, corny movie. All right. 2 people say cow tipping was real. Okay, so cows would be standing up and you just run and shove them and they'd flop over. Most just get kicked. Oh, so then they try to kick your butt afterwards? I mean, I know they used to sleep standing up. I just was wondering if you just tried to shove them, would it be that easy to fall over? These days you can't say nothing about anything because you never know if your info is still valid. I know. I try to check everything right before I go live because sometimes it's a few weeks old. It might not be true anymore. I mean, some of this stuff flip-flops so fast. I've had a few people say that this wiki page says blah, 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 and then an hour later I go and check it. It doesn't say it anymore. How can they sleep standing up though? Wouldn't their legs give way? No, they just have like their subconscious mind just locks their legs in place so they don't need to think about it. I mean, it's just like when you sleep, you still remember to breathe. You don't have to think about it. So their mind could just lock the legs. Who remembers Big Trouble in Little Tokyo? Yeah, I watched it, but I don't know how much I remembered from then. Okay, let me get back on track here. Doink. All right, got 1 page done. Okay, I don't think I covered this one last time. Who remembers Rikki Tikki Tavi? Rikki Tikki Tavi, the famous kids program. There was a book, and there was also a little short story movie thing. This one was noticed by Sergeant Donna Donowitz. That's the login name she uses as a commenter on my channel. She does not remember the dashes in Rikki Tikki Tavi. I don't either. I don't remember any dashes in Rikki Tikki Tavi at all. So that's another little ME. All right, next one. Actually, I'm going to delete a bunch of these because they kind of are a pox on my computer memory here. All right, so there's Rikki Tikki Tavi. Big Trouble in Little China. Okay, what's the change? It's not Big Trouble in Little China anymore? Well, according to everyone, it's Big Trouble in Little China, except for a few. Oh. Oh, okay. They're saying it's okay. It was Big Trouble in Little China for me. I don't remember Big Trouble in Little Tokyo. Big Trouble in Little Tokyo. That was a Chinese movie, though. It was Showdown in Little Tokyo. Big Trouble in Little China. Still the same. Okay, for me, it was always Big Trouble in Little China. I never saw Showdown in Little Tokyo, so I don't know anything about that thing. Okay. I mean, who knows what it was for everybody else, but because it was it was a Chinese, I mean, like it was a Chinese storyline. Ronan the Voice, yes, I cut the show early. Hi, Eva and everyone. Hey, I'm actually an hour earlier today. It's unscheduled, and I felt really awake, so I just decided to come on. I don't think anybody's on at this hour anyway, so I'm not stepping on anybody. Okay. Next one. Somebody kind of covered this one, but to me, it goes a lot further. This weird thing at the Denver airport called Blucifer, the demon horse of Denver airport. Now, what's weird is a couple months ago, people started talking about that weird painting in the Denver airport, and then I saw a whole show on weird conspiracy theories of Denver airport, and this thing was never mentioned anywhere on that. I saw the show twice. They talked about theories that there's underground caverns or underground facilities under Denver. They talked all about that weird painting with the Nazi guy and the children. But they never once mentioned this thing, which is, it's a blue horse with red eyes, and it is the corniest, weirdest looking thing I've ever seen. And people call it like Blue Lucifer, so they call it Blucifer. I don't think that's what it was supposed to be called originally. What's weird about this, it's 30 foot tall. Artist Luis Jimenez, weirdly enough, apparently a piece of the horse fell on the artist and killed him. Let's see. In 2006, Jimenez died after a section of the 9,000-pound sculpture fell on him and severed an artery in his leg. 2 years later, the beast that killed its creator went on display at the airport. The horse's cobalt color, glowing red eyes, and fierce face immediately attract public ire. Okay, then they talk about all the other weird conspiracy theories. But so, Julie Holcomb brought this one up, and somebody else had said on another video for Emmy that they thought that the front legs looked really weird. Now, I'll tell you, I've never even heard of this thing. So I don't know about the front legs or anything. This is the weirdest freaking thing, and it was not in the conspiracy theory shows that I've seen on Denver. Let me get some more images of it. It is the creepiest, weirdest. I can't imagine someone commissioning that thing. I mean, if you think that those paintings inside are bad taste, and it's like, look at its butt. It's got like these weird veins under there, and it's got these weird veins here. I guess the eyes glow red at night. This whole thing is just ridiculous. Anyways, there's the nighttime. I mean, who would commission such a thing? Blue Mustang was called the Denver airport home since 2008. And that was just like 6 months ago I saw that big conspiracy theory thing. So anyways, I don't know. Weird, weird, weird. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you ever heard of it? Did you know about it, but the front legs changed maybe? The legs do look weird to me. I mean, just as a case of a horse in general, that is not how I remember horse legs being. But anyways, I just had to put that up there. If anybody doesn't know about the Denver airport paint mural, I'll stick it up real quick. art. So a lot of people are questioning the decision here to have this weird art with this Hitler dude and the sword hitting this white dove. And the story is that the artist was allowed to do whatever they want, and they put this up. But anyway, I think it's kind of weird to think that they wouldn't have any standards at all about what went up in their airport. That's all I have to say. So anyway, there's a lot of conspiracy theories about this. So I guess at the end, all these kids and stuff defeat the bad guy or something. But anyway, there's a ton of conspiracy theories on that one. Big Trouble in Little Earth Realm. Yeah, I don't know. Are we in big trouble? I don't know. Or the same old trouble we're always in. Yeah. Big Trouble in Little China for me. I actually had a lot of Chinese friends when I was in school. This is just an area that had a lot of Asian people. So I had a lot of Chinese and Vietnamese friends, and so it was extra amusing to us that they had a movie, and I went with all my Chinese friends, and they loved it. I was kind of bored, but it was an okay comedy though. Speaking of Seinfeld, his show Celebrities in Cars Getting Coffee is now drinking coffee. Didn't know that one. Can't help you on that one. I remember the horse, but it wasn't blue like that. Yeah, I mean, I guess if they had a totally boring horse there, I probably wouldn't remember it, but there was nothing like that. Okay, so anyways, this is one I've been seeing a lot of lately. I think about 5 years ago it started. What did it start with? What animal did this start with these teeth cleaning fish? Way back we didn't have this. So basically this guy opens his mouth and all these fish will just climb in there and clean his teeth now. I don't know what food they think they're getting when I imagine he brushed his teeth. But I'm just seeing like this little fish that eat everything. First it just started with parasites, then it was teeth, then it was poop. I mean, now it's like everything. So there's like these cleaning stations that other animals like hippos will go and they'll just stand there and all these other fish will like clean them off. And sharks have cleaning stations, and now they'll open their mouth and these fish will climb right in and the sharks won't eat them. I mean, sharks just eat everything. I can't imagine a shark opening its mouth and not eating the fish that are climbing around in it. But so anyway, this whole communal living thing, I won't eat you if you clean my teeth thing, didn't have that in my old timeline, and now it's like everywhere. What is the painting called that is religious one and one of the people on it has their bum out pulling a moonie? Um, That one, that one is on the Sistine Chapel, isn't it? Yeah, Sistine Chapel. God, and it's God that moons. All right, this one's interesting because his moon gets more moony the more times I look at it. I mean, over time, his butt shows more and more. So anybody who says it's not an ME, it's still in progress. Let's see. All right, when I first saw this, just a little bit of his butt showed. It's about double now. I mean, you can see down his leg and everything. So I never heard of it, and people could say, "Oh, well, you didn't know about everything." But this one has changed even since I heard about it. Maybe 5 months ago or something, I first heard of it, and like only half of this much butt showed. So Michelangelo has apparently painted God with his butt sticking out. I just can't see the church tolerating that, allowing it. There's just no way. It's absolutely beyond the pale. That's all I have to say. Although, why would they show their bum like that? Yeah, there is no reason. You wouldn't put that like on a religious fresco, God's butt sticking out. And for what? It's ridiculous. But like I said, it sticks out. I just, like, what? He's going to be, like, naked if this keeps up. George Washington looking even further to the right. Yeah. Yeah, I think I mentioned that before. Now, a few days ago, last Wednesday. Oh, yeah, look, he's looking way off to the side now. Look at that. Yeah. Let's see if we can get a better image with He's looking totally different angle from these guys. Each one of them's looking in a different direction now. You know, I remember them all like lined up. They were almost all looking, they were all on the same level. They were all looking the same way. It's changed a lot. Yeah, he's looking a totally different direction now. All right, let's see where we're at. Archeri. Another creepy one, commonly known as the octopus stinkworm or devil's fingers, is a fungus which has a global distribution. So it erupts out of here and it looks like stinky, rotten fingers. And supposedly it smells like rotting flesh. There's a lot of creepy things that smell like rotting flesh around here. Doink. But look at before it pops open. It looks like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Hatches from an egg sac. See, I've never seen a fungus look like it hatched from a clear egg sac like that either. So that one's just extra gross. Look at that. Have you ever seen a fungus act like that? That's like a plant. Even plants don't have like see-through sacs like that they burst out of. So anyway, extra creepy. Just had to put it in there. All right, this is a really interesting one. I am positive this was not the case before. Because nobody could drink seawater before. But apparently now cats can drink seawater safely. Now, they may not love it, and if there's other water around, they're obviously going to drink clear water if they can. But supposedly, if there's no water around, cats can drink seawater, and their kidneys are strong enough to just filter it out, and they'll be fine. Because they always say to us, if we drink seawater, you know, we'll very shortly dehydrate and die. But, nope, cats can drink seawater. I don't know where we're going with that, but, I mean, I don't know a lot of, like, ocean-bearing cats, so I don't know why they'd have to, but... You know, I just remember them always saying that you had to be careful to make sure that cats did not consume a lot of contaminants because they drank so little water that their liver was always in danger not being able to filter out contaminants. So I always learned the reverse, that you had to make sure that they did not consume a lot of minerals and stuff like that due to liver damage. So this is kind of the opposite. No way my cat won't even drink yesterday's water. Well, yeah, sorry, but your cat is probably super spoiled like almost everybody's cat. Cats are born to be spoiled. But if your cat was really thirsty and he couldn't smack you on the head enough to give water, then I supposedly he could drink the seawater. Yeah, we have this stray cat we've been feeding, and he gets a big attitude if I don't open a fresh can every time. I'm like, you're starving and you're a stray cat. And he's like, yeah, open the... He gives me this look if he doesn't eat all his food, so I put it in the fridge and I yank it out, and there he is giving me this look. Anyways, yeah, cats. Even a stray cat is a spoiled cat. Oh, okay, this one's a creepy one. All right. Well, it's not super creepy, okay? You don't have to, like, turn off the channel creepy, but... All right, this one. This one's like the world's biggest tadpole. This is a weird looking thing. All right, load. Come on, kid. Look at the size of that tadpole. It's ridiculous. Too bad it's not sideways, but look at that thing. I mean, it's got to be, how long is a hand? It's got to be like a foot long with tadpole. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out where this tadpole came from. And some people commented on here that, what's that word they used? Oh, neotony. Neotony. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Neotony. 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 Okay, it's neotony. So that apparently means that instead of going out of your immature phase into your adult phase, you just stay in your immature phase. And some animals supposedly can actually mate and have offspring from this larval state. And one of those is the axolotl, which you guys might have seen this one. This one's not an ME for me. It's a weird guy, but I've had them a long time anyway. At least 20 years I knew of axolotl images. So these guys, so supposedly these stay in their larval stage. And but anyway, so the story now, whoops, I lost my giant tadpole. Boink. So they're saying now that sometimes tadpoles just never turn into frogs. They will just stay tadpoles and get bigger and bigger and then just kind of live in the pond and just become these giant beasts. I spent some time chasing around this photo, and supposedly this photo is from a tadpole of a bullfrog. So anyway, that's definitely I mean, I've never seen a tadpole bigger than about that big, so that's pretty ridiculous. So yeah, apparently things can just stay in their neonatal state now. And I looked up these tadpoles, and they said some of them do seem to have sexual organs, that they do develop them, even though they don't develop the arm and legs. And some of them get kind of hunchback, like they're almost a frog, but they're not. But they don't know if they haven't seen any documented cases where the larva phase can mate, but they don't know that they can't because they do have the sexual organs, supposedly. So anyway, that might be a new thing we're going to see more and more of, is these, I mean, if the thing is still a larva, but yet it has its sexual organs. I don't know, the whole thing is just weird. Another Pokemon animal. Yeah, giant tadpoles. They look like cartoon characters. Shari D, what is it going to be? A giant frog? Well, supposedly it's a larval state of a bullfrog that never developed into a bullfrog. It never grew its legs. So they're saying it's due to lack of a hormone is what they think it is the current storyline. I got rid of the CD because the song was no longer on it. It was a Hollywood undid CD. The song Dead Bite is on a different album now. Well, that sucks. You know, I never really got into the whole buying of the albums and stuff. I used to just tape the stuff I liked. But there's been so many stories like yours. You buy an album for a song and then it's not there. Freakishly big, yep. I mean, I've never even seen anything 10% that big as a tadpole. The giant plant with a third-degree burns, Charles. Yes, I am going to cover that one. There's something weird about that one. I saw that one about a year ago, but the storyline has evolved since then. Okay, so anyway, there's the tadpoles. All right, page 2. Page 3. Okay, this is another creepy one. Be warned, this one is, I think, the creepiest one on here for today. And it gave me the creeps. I don't know, but I don't get... Who knows if you get creeped... I think you'll get creeped out by this. Supposedly, this black widow spider caught a mouse. And it's underneath a shopping cart. Okay, so this mouse gets caught in this web. And this black widow's eating it. And look, the mouse is still kicking. Since when does this mouse not turn around and kick that spider's butt? And why is it on a shopping cart? And how come that mouse can't wiggle off that spider web? I'm going to freeze it because it's gross. But anyway, here, we'll just roll it up so you don't have to look at it. Anyway, I don't understand that whole thing. I don't understand how that mouse can be stuck in a spider web. I have noticed, and I noticed this about 2 years ago, that spider webs do feel stronger to me. Like when I run my hand through them, they really hold on a lot stronger than I recall. But I still don't see how they're able to catch a mouse. I don't see how a mouse can't escape from a spider web. I don't see how a mouse is going to sit there and let a spider chomp on his butt. I don't see how the spider would dare. But I guess that's just how it is in this timeline. I don't know. All right, this one is from a commenter on the channel called Live Oak. This one is just weird. You know, you probably remember they used to say diamonds were created deep in the core of the earth with extremely high pressure and temperature on the carbon. Well, now they say that candle flames contain millions of nanodiamonds. So much for all the pressure requirements. It doesn't require super incredible heat to create nanodiamonds. This startling discovery is important to me because it helps confirm the theories presented in magnetic reversals and evolutionary leaps. That's a whole interesting bunch of titles there. Anyway, so they're saying that in a candle flame there are, minuscule diamonds, along with high levels of iridium, embedded in the black mat of carbon spheres. Anyway, so there's just so they're saying that they like disintegrate quickly, but that kind of lays open the way for diamonds to be created more easily, found in more places. I think who knows, maybe they'll start raining out of volcanoes if this keeps up. Anyway, just really weird. Nanodiamonds. All right, this one is an interesting one. I saw one of these about a week ago and I blew it off. I said, no, I don't think that's real. Now here's another one. Hot on the heels of the first one. This one looks more realistic. This guy sticks his little putty paws right into the boiling water to pick out this food. Now, the first one of these I saw was kind of grainy, and it was not clear if the pot was hot. So I assumed that it wasn't, because you're not going to stick your hand in there. Well, this pot, you can see it boiling. You can see the heat, the steam coming off. He sticks his hand right in there. I don't know really what to make of this. I mean, it doesn't look like it's fake. Obviously, it could be. But I think we're going to see more of this with the higher heat tolerance. One thing I noticed about 8 months ago is that I am like the biggest wimp in the universe when it comes to drinking hot tea or hot coffee. I just could not tolerate it hot at all. I had to put ice in my coffee and my tea. Well, I don't even like coffee, but I had to put ice in my tea. And also, I could not stand spicy foods. I was a complete and utter wimp. And about 8 months ago, that suddenly just like it flipped, like really over the course of, I don't know, like instantly. Or I went to the restaurant. Tea didn't seem that hot. Didn't have to use ice. I just assumed they did not put hot water in that day. But then the next time I went, same thing. Then the next time I tried jalapeno chicken, it wasn't that spicy. I'm still, not the king of spice, but I've definitely suddenly now almost in the normal range for that kind of stuff. In fact, now when I drink tea, it's not that hot in my mouth, but sometimes my throat feels too hot. And I've never experienced that before, because it used to be that it would already be burning my mouth before I could ever get it to be uncomfortable in my throat. So that's changed really quite a bit for me. So I something's going on. This thing doesn't mean a lot by itself, but I think we might just see more tolerance of the heat now. Let's see. Why is he using his hand? In some countries like the Philippines and places, they use their hands a lot. They don't use utensils. But I mean, still, you would think that he would, have a spoon or something. But like in the Philippines, everybody eats with their hands. It's just normal. Praying mantis now eats birds now, I think. Yeah, spiders. Everything eats birds now. Fish eat birds. Widow's venom paralyzes small creatures. Well, it does now. The mice will be eating elephants. Well, the horses are eating the mice. Have you seen the okapi animal once? Yes, I've been watching the okapi. That thing keeps changing. More and more stripes. Now it's got those bumps on the head now. Ossicones, I think they're calling them. Some people are saying it's a half giraffe. There's other things they're calling it. Okapi is one I'm keeping an eye on for a number of reasons. There's something interesting about that one. I'm waiting to see if it comes to pass, though, with the ossicones and stuff. But Can't get creepier than the parrot that eats the sheep fat. Yeah, okay. And the sheep that lets them. I don't know. That I think to me that spider one is a close one for me though. Am I the only one who doesn't remember SpaceX existing in the old timeline? Then one day everyone was talking about SpaceX. I had never heard of it. Yes, I agree with you there. I think it was about 4 years ago. Suddenly, there was this space program that was not NASA, and I'm like, huh? And it had gotten so far, and they're going to launch soon, and I'm like, what? I actually just was like, is that bull? I didn't even really take it seriously at first. I'm just like, that's not real. Dead GPK. Later's sleep found me. All right, dead GPK. See you later. SpaceX came out of nowhere for me as well. Yep. Maybe the Diamond Volcano in Alabama will activate. All right, let me check out Diamond Volcano in Alabama. I don't know that one. Alabama. Crater of Diamonds State Park. Dang. Crater. I do remember places where you could diamond hunt, but I don't remember any of them being called Crater of Diamonds. Crater of Diamonds. White, brown, yellow. White, brown, and yellow diamonds. That's another thing that's been kind of developing for me. They were always white. The diamonds were white. And then, oh, there's one that's kind of a slightly off color. And then that one's worth $1 gajillion. And now it just seems like pretty common. The diamonds come in all these colors. How much have I missed? An hour's worth. Why? You know what the one that gets me is you have the rocket going up and then it lands back the same way. That looks so ridiculous. And I first saw that, I just thought they had put the film in reverse. It just looks so unfeasible to land like that. That thing is so tall. I'm like, can you imagine you'd have to get it so... When I first saw that, I'm all, that's total bull. I thought they were just joking. Okay, so what's next on here? This one is even more ridiculous. I just saw it today. Okay, so the story here is that World Cup fans jumping up and down caused an earthquake. Mexico fans set off earthquake. Small one, but it was a 3.0, and that is not that small an earthquake. May have caused an earthquake. No, they didn't cause an earthquake. Well, apparently there was an earthquake right at that time. Let me see what this one was. No, it didn't cause an earthquake. Anyway, it's been spreading everywhere that they caused this earthquake. Seismometers in Mexico City picked up a spike in seismic activity. Looks like there's going to be a commercial coming. Okay, this person's saying no, it must be people near the seismometers. But see, the other ones were saying that lots of seismometers picked it up. So that's what's confusing. So, I don't know, did Mexicans in every area of Mexico jump up and down near the seismometers? Anyway, it's just a weird story, and the fact that it got that far, before they would say that nothing would cause an earthquake. Now they say, oh, fracking causes an earthquake, a lot of rain causes an earthquake, geomagnetic storms cause an earthquake. Everything causes an earthquake now, so now they're floating this Mexican fans caused an earthquake. So, I don't know, it just seems to be a trend. So many earthquakes. Yeah, you know, another thing that's everywhere is cracks opening up. There's just cracks everywhere opening up. There's also a whole ton of water disappearing off of beaches for various unknown reasons. They say now that hurricanes can pull water off the beaches. I never saw that before. I have seen high tides due to hurricanes, but in the recent years, they're saying it'll suck the water back off the beaches. In my old timeline, if the water was off a beach, that was a tsunami, and it was going to come back in and kill you. So anytime you saw water off the beach, you better hightail it. But now, if you haven't had an earthquake, you're probably all right. So when I saw the plane engines in the front, it was a major shock. I remember them in the back. Yep, they were in the back. The reason why I remember them in the back is I always assumed they were back there so that when the exhaust came out, it wouldn't burn the wing. And so I'm like, oh, that's, I didn't know anything about why, but I always thought that was why, to protect the wing from the exhaust. And also so they wouldn't rip off easily. I don't know if that was really why or why they said it, but now it looks like it'll just catch the wing on fire. Rainstorms with octopus. Is it raining octopus now? Ugh. Raining. Oh, look, it came up. Google. I said raining oct and it guessed it. All right, let's see what's up with the raining octopuses. Raining octopuses. China's bizarre sea creature storm. Oh, it's in an ad on TV. It's raining octopuses in GE's new ad. So is it really raining octopuses? Not that I'd be so shocked. I mean, it's rained fish, it's rained blood rain, it's rained all kind of stuff, so. Anyway, so apparently there's a commercial, and I don't know if we can find the real deal because that commercial is hogging up all of the Google results. Sea tornado in China brings torrential downpour of hail and animals. You know, if it starts raining cats and dogs, I quit. What about raining octopuses and starfish? This week in a small town in China, it really was raining so hard that creatures started falling from the sky. The city of China is no stranger to sea and its creatures. A sea tornado swept through the city. Residents were shocked to see sea creatures falling from the sky along with the rain. Get rid of that. Somebody was mentioning recently, was it on one of the comments, how could it be that something would suck up all these sea creatures and it wouldn't suck up like hordes of seaweed, rocks, debris? Why is it just sea creatures that get sucked up? I just can't see how. I mean, I've seen some argument that there'd be preferential slurping of things with certain sizes and then stratification of the sizes of the items. But even so, there should be a bunch of other items that are the same size as a fish that should all come raining down. And there should be a lot of those in the ocean. So, like if you have starfishes sucked up, I mean, starfishes hang out on the bottom. So shouldn't you have a whole bunch of rocks and coral and all kind of crap coming up too and raining down rocks, breaking windshields? So the whole tornado sea creature raining thing, I don't quite buy it. It's just weird. Those clouds that look like cities, and they say it's a reflection. Artastic creations. Yeah, you know, in my old timeline, I would have said that was just photoshopped. But I don't know what's going on. You know, in this timeline, everything's so weird, and a lot of things that are originally pushed as just clickbait and Photoshop later turn real. Now they're saying that light can bend around the curvature of the Earth, and you can see images of stuff around the edge of the Earth. So, I mean, I don't think at this point I'd be really surprised if that turned out to be deemed as a real phenomena, some kind of illusion caused by the light. Search for freakish sea creatures storm. Freakish sea creatures storm. You know, when you get these ew, what's that? Sea creature, alien beast, Hurricane Harvey storm. What is that thing? It's probably some known creepy under deep sea thingy. Mystery as monster sea creature washes up on beach. Every time there's a hurricane, 10 creepy monsters wash up. Do I want to accept all this crap? All right, I'll take cookies just for you guys. Oop, let's turn off the racket. Oh, another creepy sea creature. I don't know if I'm on the right one. Oh, there's another one. I don't know how many of these are photoshopped. Basically, what's that now? Maybe it's a fang-toothed snake eel. Tusky eel. So maybe it's a fang-toothed snake eel. All right, I guess we're going to have to see what a fang-toothed snake eel looks like. Let's just go to Google, shall we? Fang-toothed snake eel. Images. Okay, so that does look like that. Ugh. I don't know. Could be. There's so many creepy things now. Wind formations are odd. Everything's odd. Those clouds look like cities in the sky, which they claim is a reflection. The thing is, I mean, the way light moves and reflects now, I mean, it could be just a reflection of something around the corner. At least it's cohesive with the rest of the current storyline as it's been developing. It's a lampfish. Goblin sharks. What about the star jelly rot of the stars that is supposed to rain down from space? What about star jelly rot of the stars? I've never heard of that. Star jelly rot of the stars. Oops. Rot of the stars. Oops, not fort of the stars. Star jelly, a gelatinous substance sometimes found on grass or branches of trees. Okay, that's a new one for me. According to folklore, it is deposited on the earth during meteor showers. Star jelly is described as a translucent white gelatin that tends to evaporate shortly after having fallen. Now, I have seen something like that described after alien encounters, like when a spaceship was seen. And even that has been recent, though, last couple years. Explanations have ranged from the materials being remains of frogs, toads, or worms, byproducts of cyanobacteria, to the paranormal. Reports of the substance date back to the 14th century. Oh, never heard of it. Star jelly. Cellular organic matter, which exists as prestellar molecular clouds. Of course, we have so many super creepy, icky fungi and all that, but I mean, I guess if something suddenly shows up all over the place and then evaporates the next day, it's going to be hard to blame it on fungus. Billbird. Anyway, yeah, Billbird, I first time hearing about it right now, and I wasn't a diehard UFO person, but I did look into it quite a bit, and I did keep an eye on the stories. Bizarre moment. Rains octopus as freakish storm sucks creatures out of the sea. Seafood rain became a trending topic online as photos went viral in the violent storm aftermath. Seafood rain. Sea creatures and giant hailstorms rain down on Chinese town during storm. Well, there's a combination for you. You'll know we're done once the cats and dogs start coming out. I hope I don't see that. Okay, so them's are some very large. Get rid of that thing. Watermelons were destroyed by hailstorm impacts. I don't know. Is that even a real image? It's so hard to tell nowadays. Hurricane force winds. It's so hard to tell Photoshop from not Photoshop. Oh, look at all those fish. Fish rain phenomena shock local Mexican residents. You know what's weird about this image is I don't see any on the sidewalks. They're all in the street here for that one. Look, see there. I don't know what to make of it. There's definitely a lot of weird things going on. Rivers were left stunned as octopuses and starfish began raining down onto their cars during a freakish storm. Qingdao. I don't know, the whole raining fish and raining this and raining that. I've been hearing a lot about it lately, so I guess I wouldn't be shocked. Egyptian city in the Grand Canyon legend. Apparently some explorers found Egyptian ruins in the Grand Canyon. There's a lot of weird stories. I have never heard that one. But there's a lot of weird stories in the past, but even more now about somebody went out somewhere, found this weird thing, and then came back and could never find it again. I don't know what to make of that unless they're doing some kind of timeline thing or they just made it up, is what a lot of people are going to assume. Or smoked something funny. Okay, so where am I anyway? Okay, more weird lobsters. Speaking of fish. I don't know why the ME makes funny colored lobsters, but... So the latest one is this cotton candy colored one. You know, 1 in a million. First, the blue ones were 1 in a million. Now there's seems like a lot. These speckled ones came out. Then we started seeing these ones like this, or half and half, which I believe are now, they're saying, according to, if you watch my other video, these might be half male, half female. And then, let me see if I can find it. There was these, I also saw recently these rainbow colored ones. Rainbow. See if I can find those again. Oops. Images. Okay, and there was also this rainbow colored... Ooh, look at that one. That one's neat. Okay, that one's that claw crayfish. There's a bunch of weird colored crayfish now. I think this is the lobster, though. Rainbow lobster. Look at that. All those colors. Got pink, got blue, got purple, yellow, orange. It's got all the colors on it. And this one, I think it sold, if that's the same one I saw before, it was sold for $600. So the price is coming down on the goofy colored lobsters now. Lobster captured at Jurong Fishing Port 2012. Rainbow lobsters. So there's just a bunch, all these colors. Hawaiian spiny lobsters. Look at that. Anyway, the plain old boring red lobster is no more, hardly. Then you've got these rainbow colored crayfish. Anyway, it's just about, oh, this one I saw too. Pink lobsters. So there's pink speckled ones now too. Violet spotted reef lobster. Neat. There are a couple countries that have just popped up. Is that Turk and Caicos? There's a bunch of them. The American Virgin Islands, I think it was called. Those are new. Oh, there's a bunch of islands, the Channel Islands. All I had was one island off the coast of California. Now there's a ton. I think there's like 8 islands now. Tuscadero. Pinky Tuscadero? Oh, Pinky Tuscadero. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we will get one of those. Okay. Oh, this one. Okay. This one is near and dear to my heart. You guys, I don't know if it'll mean much to you, but I think it has broad implications. Experiment. There it is. Okay. I don't know if you guys remember the Stanford prison experiment. It was a big deal in psychology. But basically, way back, I think it was like in the 60s or something, this famous scientist, researcher, recruited a bunch of college kids, and then he did tests on them to make sure they seemed like they were normal, well-adjusted kids. Then he split them into 2 groups. One group was to be the prisoners, and the other group was to be the guards. And then he set up kind of a makeshift prison in the classrooms, and then he had them play out their roles. And so it went kind of wild as the guards kind of got more and more into their role, and the prisoners got more and more kind of crabby and disobedient, and it kind of spiraled out of control. And this is just a famous psychological experiment. And finally, somebody heard about it, and they saw what was going on, and they flipped out, and they're like, oh, you have to quit. This is, it's not humane anymore. And then, so they ended the experiment. And it was never repeated because it was considered dangerous. And that's why they never did it again. But, this thing, people pored over this research for 50 years. People have been looking at this experiment, every bit of it. So now suddenly what they're saying is that new information has come forth that proves that the whole study was fraudulent. The most famous psychological studies are often wrong, fraudulent, or outdated. Textbooks need to catch up. So basically, they're saying everything you ever learned is probably bull. Well, it is now, but one of the most famous and compelling psychological studies of all time told us as a tantalizing, simple story about human nature. Okay, but its findings were wrong, very wrong, and not due to its questionable ethics or lack of concrete data, but because of deceit. A new expose published by Medium based on previous unpublished recordings of Philip Zimbardo. Okay, so they're saying that he coached them and they were acting and they were faking it and all this stuff because of these new unpublished recordings. So after 50 years, they found a bunch of new recordings. I don't know how many times I've heard that story, that kind of a story when it has to do with the ME. So anyway, they're saying, oh, it was all wrong. One thing interesting about this story is the original experiment really cast doubt on human morality. It was a very depressing outcome. Was it basically said that people, if they put in the role of a prisoner, will act like a jerk. It's just kind of like natural. And so the idea that this might be wrong would be a good thing if it turns out to no longer be true, I think, especially the way they're saying it. But to me, if you ever were involved in psychological research, it's shocking. Them saying that it was all bull is shocking. But not only that, other old famous research ones they're saying are all bull now too. And one of them is the Milgram experiment. And the Milgram experiment is a real interesting one because in that experiment, this is another one of those early experiments that they later would not replicate because it was considered too damaging on the subjects. But subjects were told that they were training somebody, and if the person did something wrong, they would give them a little electric shock. And then if they kept doing it wrong, they would crank up the electric shocks. And they weren't really shocking somebody, but they thought they were. And they had people pretending to yell and scream on the other side when they got shocked. But it was all behind a wall, so they didn't know that it wasn't real. And what the disturbing part is that people would go up to these really high shocks, even to the point of maybe killing somebody. A lot of them would go up to these super high shocks just because the experiment asked them to. Experimenter asked them to. And so they were using this as a parable of what might have happened in Nazi Germany, where basically just by a minor amount of authority, people would obey and do things that were basically unethical. And Milgram experiment is another one of those super depressing experiments that just showed kind of human weakness and cruelty. But apparently now they're saying that the Milgram experiment was also bogus and not done properly and everything. So, the whole thing just basically they're throwing out everything. They're throwing out everything, and it's I don't know. For me, it's just like it was just a smack in the head. A lot of supposed psychology and psychiatry were always fake and used to manipulate and undermine. I don't even see how, because they basically just said, Bill, I really just saw people doing things like the milgram experiment. I just saw people doing what they're told at workplaces. I saw people, I mean, it was depressing, but I really just felt like a lot of what those experiments showed I saw in daily life often. And it really explained Nazi Germany. It explained a lot. And I don't see how they were really going to manipulate people with them. I mean, what were they, by this experiment, what did they teach people? They were trying to teach people to not be like that. So that's why I don't see how they had any real reason to lie about it. Maybe the individual experimenters did. But anyway, the storyline now is that it was all fake. But I don't know. After 50 years, they finally got new evidence. I don't buy it. I think it's an ME thing. That's my opinion anyway. Heard we might have had another shift. On vacation from work now, so I haven't been out much. Kind of hibernating. I don't know. You know, I think we do. I see things changing constantly, regularly, and sometimes I feel fine, but things are changing. Other times I feel real sick. I've kind of lately just wondered if maybe we feel the physical effects when we're having a anatomy shift. And maybe we don't feel that bad if it's, say, like just the Statue of Liberty is changing. Maybe we can handle that easily, but then maybe if it's something in us then maybe it's not that easy to predict shifts, because maybe they're happening often or all the time, or maybe things are shifting all, minute by minute. But we just certain times feel like crap. Like Sunday was a really good example. Was it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday really early in the morning. I went to bed Saturday night, felt fine. Sunday in the middle of the night, my shoulder started hurting so bad, and no matter what I did, I could not find any comfortable position. I swear it was like something broken there. And finally I figured out that if I put my hand behind my head, and it was this shoulder, it would mostly not hurt. And I had to leave my hand like that for hours. And finally the pain went away. And in the morning, it only felt mildly achy. I'm like, I don't know what you can do to do all that to your shoulder in the middle of the night. And then 12 hours later, it felt 95% repaired, and I felt pretty normal. So I don't know. I think it's some ME thing. I don't see how you can hurt that much and then be fine 12 hours later. Maybe it has to do with the shoulder change. Just because something changes on Google Images, I don't know if that means I change at the same time. Maybe I was lagging by a few days. Well, that's no conspiracy. Everything you know is wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I watched a movie recently about the prison experiment. That is such a famous one. I'm more than ready to buy into the idea that maybe people put stuff out to manipulate people, but I never really saw how that served to shackle the people. If anything, it was like, hey, wake up, don't be a mindless obedient person. It was like saying, look what it does to you if you just obey without thinking. That's what Stanford prison experiment and that's what Milgram experiment said to a lot of people, and that's how they always pushed it. Don't just blindly react. Don't just blindly obey. Think. So if anything, I would say it would, be an awakening kind of thing. But on the flip side, it was depressing because it basically said that a whole lot of people would just do bad things just because of circumstances, that they wouldn't stick up for a deeper moral core. So if people now will stick up for a deeper moral core, that could be a good thing. Hair had sparkle glitter 2 days ago. I have not had sparkle glitter. That might be kind of cool. My chest has been hurting, though, today a lot. The back of the shoulders thing passed, and now it was my chest. I just smacked some aspirin down. I got tired of the pain. It's weird though. It'll hurt real bad for like 6 hours and they'll be fine. So, I mean, you can't even go to the hospital because by the time you go there, you tell them that, they're going to think you're a hypochondriac or something. Artistic creations. Gap between my big toe and second toe. Never had it. Now I do. I think you commented on one of the videos. Yes, I agree with you. There's something funny going on with the feet. I'm looking at my toes right now. All of them look more separate than they used to be. The big toe is more separate. There's just space between the toes now. I did not have those there before. Also on the side where the pinky toe is, that side of the foot bulges out more now. And another commenter mentioned that some weeks back. And when I looked, I agree. I think that the toes, I think the foot might be getting wider and the toes kind of more, even they look like they're pinching in more, but I think there's also spread out more. And I also think that my toes might be a little bit longer than they used to be. I mean, I have really short toes, so they seem like they're a little more normal now. The Virginia is separated about 40 years into 2 states. They are still Virginia, as no president will recognize the states as 2. That's weird. Did they just have one government, though, right? Because if they had 2 governments, that would be expensive. The prison experiment was old news, though. It was basically what militaries have been doing for centuries. Well, I don't know about militaries. It basically, the prison experiment replicated a prison environment. So you just look at any prison around here, and you've got guards and prisoners. And it was showing you that if you put somebody in the role of a prisoner and treat them like a prisoner, they start to change their behavior to act like a prisoner. So it had a lot to say about rehabilitation and how the environment that you put somebody in affects who they become. So the argument was to really look at environment when you're trying to rehabilitate somebody. Don't treat them like dirt because you'll have them act the same. And also it had a lot to say about people getting power and how they power trip. So, and remember, these are all randomly selected for either one or the other role. So if those prisoners became the guards and the guards became the prisoners, you would expect similar behavior. Now we had okay. Virginia. I mean, we had a West Virginia. So you're talking about Virginia and West Virginia? Okay, so we're just talking about Virginia and West Virginia. Yeah, I had a West Virginia. Does anyone remember Megan Fox having toe thumbs? No, I don't. I have to say I'm not an expert on TV watching toe thumbs. What is a toe thumbs? Toe thumbs. Would you have thumbs that look like toes? Is that real? So that's a toe thumb. Was it just like really wide and looks like a toe? Oh, okay. Okay, that guy actually had a thumb replaced with the toe. Oh, Lonigal mentioned how funny is it Virginia is more west than West Virginia. Ooh, that's a good point. That is a good point. A lot of the states have slithered around for me, but I really only recognize, I mean, I recognize that things look wrong, but I've only specifically noticed the ones around California because I just didn't know the other ones that well. But the ones around California have moved a lot. Yes, she had toe thumbs. Does she not now? Wait, who was it again? Megan Fox toe thumbs. Megan. Shoot, I don't even remember the spelling for her. I'll just go with that. Oh, yeah, there it is. Megan Fox toe thumbs. People still can't get over Megan Fox's toe thumbs. I guess she has them. Her club thumbs insecurity. I don't know. They don't look that different to me. Oh, yeah. See, she has kind of a big thumb. Yeah, I can't really help you on that one. I'm just not into those kind of TV watching things. I mean, it's not so bad that you would really notice. Okay, so there's her. You're not going to really go, hey, I'm sure people aren't really looking at her thumb, is my point. Because I don't think women care about her, and then I just don't see men looking at her thumb. Let's see what images. Probably a lot of this was photoshopped. Okay, so look, she's got a big fat thumb, basically. Okay, so yeah, she still has toe thumbs. I only met a few people who remember one Virginia. I do remember a West Virginia. Toe thumbs. First I hear about toe thumbs. You know, there's a lot of weird digit stuff going on. There's just a lot of variations that didn't used to exist. Extra fingers, fingers on top of fingers, split fingers. Let's see. This one is interesting. Here's an interesting one. I never saw anything like this before the last 6 months. All right, so this guy apparently is chuckle buddies with this alligator, and that's a big gator. And it's only been even the last few months where I've seen anybody trusting an alligator in the water. I've seen images of people with alligators on harnesses in the vet's office. And these are big gators. I mean, that big gator's big enough to bite you. There's been a whole flood of these, pardon the pun. It just seems like maybe the gators are a little more trainable. I mean, this gator should be biting his head off. So it seems like the gators are getting a little more. A lot of the animals are getting more tameable. I have a vague memory of Cincinnati and New Orleans being states. No, Arctica. Yeah, Arctica. I remember Arctica. Those gators are big enough to kill him easily. Yeah, and I have never seen any images like this. I mean, gators were the worst kind of wild animals in that they would just bite anything. You couldn't trust them. People had little ones because they couldn't bite hard enough to do anything to you. But once you had them big, you just kept away from its mouth. You did not. And like I said, I've seen images lately of gators on harnesses in a vet office, near cats, and all kinds of crap. And I'm like, what the hell? big gators. It's in the video game Civ 6. What, a bunch of gator friends? I don't know. Everything starts in a video game now, doesn't it? Half of these animals have showed up in Pokemon. Okay. We're going to get to the invasive hogweed finally. I know one of you mentioned that earlier. I heard about this maybe a year and a half ago, the giant hogweed. But the story has really changed. Now take a good look at this friggin' plant. Because this plant, I mean, it used to just be, look at that thing. It doesn't even look that different. I mean, it looks like 10 other plants that I could think of. I mean, it looks just like a big, anyway, so this hogweed, I heard about it at least a year ago, and they just said, oh, it's really poisonous, don't touch it. But the thing is, the storyline has really changed about what it can do to you now. See if I can find that good. So apparently the sap gets on you and causes your skin to no longer be tolerant of sun. So you become photosensitive. And then the minute the sun hits your skin now, it causes like really horrible burns. But here's the thing. Supposedly, the damage and the photosensitivity can last for years. So for years, it's not just like poison oak where after a few weeks you're all right. Causes blindness and third-degree burns. So you have to wear sunscreen for like years because of what this hogweed does. And they're saying it's native to several states, but that it's taking over. I mean, have you guys ever heard of... So they're saying it was discovered in Virginia. Sounds like a mythical plant that the students of Hogwarts may study, but it's real and it's dangerous. The plant grows in the wild and touching it can cause third-degree burns and even blindness. Was recently spotted in Virginia for the first time and may also grow in other states. Warnings have been issued in previous years for Michigan, New York, and elsewhere in the Northeast, Midwest, and Pacific Northwest. Let's see. Part of the carrot family. Grows to 14 feet high, thick leaves. See if it has info. So there's some close-ups of it. Looks like it's got purple flecking. Beautiful flowers. New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, Oregon, Washington, Michigan, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. All of you people have giant hogweed. So the sap contains toxic chemicals known as photosensitizing furanocoumarins. When these chemicals come into contact with human skin, it can cause a reaction that makes skin extremely sensitive to light. The reaction also causes dark, painful blisters, which can leave scars. Touching giant hogweed can lead to long-term sunlight sensitivity and blindness if sap gets into the eyes. And one of the articles I was saying is that was that sensitivity can last for years. Apply sunscreen to the affected area since this can prevent further reactions if you're stuck outside. Compress soaked in aluminum acetate mixture. Anyway, so this is some serious business. Actually, I should check and see where it originally supposed to be created. In my old timeline, it was just poison oak and poison ivy were all you really had to watch out for. They were the nasty of the nasties. So, giant hogweed wiki. Let me see if I can find that. Does anybody remember giant hogweed as native to their region? See, like a year ago I heard, okay, it's poisonous, but they didn't say anything about it lasting for like years. And they didn't have anything about this photosensitivity back then. They just said it was poisonous. So you thought of it more as poison oak kind of a deal. All right, let me find out what the scientific name of it. Gonna need that. What is the scientific name of it? Giant hogweed. Heracleum mentagasm. That looks like it. (1917) date of U.S. introduction. University of Connecticut. No. Native to Caucasus Mountains in Southwest Asia. Huh. Okay, so it's supposed to have gotten here in 1917. Crowds out native species, toxic sap. Anyways, any of you guys ever heard of this before, like the last 2 years maybe? Oh, there's a video game where Arctica is a continent. Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, that was Arctica was mine, North Pole before. To me, that's the biggest ME of all time. I mean, some people talk about logo changes and stuff, but for me, a whole continent is gone. You know, and my friends who I knew all these years tell me that Santa Claus lives in Canada. I mean, the first time I heard that, I'm just like freaked out. Stranger than the frozen gators, William Ross. You think? I don't know. The frozen gators really freak me out. You know, when I was a kid, they used to joke that there's alligators in the sewers, and then the scientists would come out and go, oh no, alligators can't live in sewers. And that's just old wives' tale. And then they would say there's rats and snakes in the toilet, and then the scientists said, oh no, rats and snakes cannot get through pipes. That's just an old wives' tale. Well, it's all true now. Artastic. Puerto Rico, Guam, the Marshall Islands were commonwealths in my timeline. Artastic, like 10 years ago, there were 2 commonwealths. I checked on this because my mother lived in Guam. Guam was one commonwealth and Puerto Rico was the other. We only had 2. Don't know anything about Marshall Islands, but Guam is no longer a commonwealth, and now there's that Micronesia or something is a commonwealth, and Guam is like this other thing I never heard of. And now some of the states are commonwealths. So it's all flippy floppy now. But yeah, Puerto Rico and Guam were the commonwealths. And that's what I always wondered, if the 52 states might have maybe in some other timelines included those because they're kind of states. Yeah, having the North Pole disappear was a shock. Yeah, and it was a whole continent, you know. It was it was one of the 7 continents with a name. When I first learned of the ME, people are like, "Oh yeah, like the Antarctica Mandela." And I'm like, "Well, I didn't know a ton about Antarctica, so I'm not sure if I would know enough to notice the Antarctica Mandela." And then I find out the Mandela is that it's gone. God, I was shocked. That was like one of the big kicks in the teeth. That and the anatomy, and I mean a whole continent, and then the anatomy, like the rib cage. And there was somebody wrote on there. They go, and they go, and the rib cage used to be open in the front. I was like, what do you mean used to be open in the front? I was like flipping out. Let's see. I was so surprised when I first heard of Puerto Rico being part of USA. Yeah, for me it was a commonwealth. And a commonwealth is kind of weird because it's a lot like a state basically. I don't know why they don't count it as a state, but I mean, if you're born there, you're a citizen, and that's how Guam was. The only reason I knew a lot about it is because my mother lived in Guam, so I actually studied it so I could know like what the deal was, and people would ask me about Guam and I could answer. Okay, so where am I at with the freakish invasive hogweed? Okay, so somebody named San 2010 on Retconned talked about the hogweed, so I want to give credit. Okay, this one is from somebody called 42, who is a commenter on my channel. Now, I had seen this before, but it did not look this developed. I don't know if this is a different one or something. But when I first saw them, they were interesting, but they were not this realistic. So this is a caterpillar. It's called the snake caterpillar. It looks just like a snake. So you could see it's missing its other half because it's not a snake. It's one weird thing. The last one I saw was more like this, where it kind of looked like a snake. But now they have one that looks just like a snake. I mean, just like a snake. If you saw that, you would just assume it's a snake. You wouldn't even see the butt half is missing. Adam's Bridge. Yeah, Adam's Bridge. I think that was one that flipped me out, too. Oh, wait, that one's a recent one, isn't it? There's so many Mandelas. It's getting hard to... Yeah, that's it. Also known as Rama's Bridge or Ramu Setu, is a chain of limestone shoals. Yeah, I never heard of that. Doink. Yeah, look at that. Weird. Yeah, that's an ME for me. Where modern science and ancient myths collide, the location of Adam's Bridge between India and Sri Lanka. Yeah, I've never heard of that. I never heard of anything in this timeline, I swear. Anyway, I don't know. Look at that. The Emmys are starting to stack up, so it's getting like foreign now. Okay, this is another weird one. Okay, so when they say the DQ, I assume they mean the Dairy Queen. And if anybody's not from this country, the Dairy Queen is just like a ice cream place that there's a million of. It's like a chain. And this was just weird because there's been a lot of weird stuff about male versus female and gender and stuff. So apparently, and I never heard of this, there are urinals for women, and this is one of them. And I don't get the point. I'd rather just be in the stall, thank you. But yeah, in the Dairy Queen, they have a urinal for women in the Dairy Queen. This was on Reddit again. So I don't know. It tripped me out. I didn't even know these things existed. And I know Mandela Effect did a thing on urinals, and he showed a lot of women using the urinal. But I mean, I guess if there's urinals for women, that's not that weird. Except for it is weird. Anyway. Women are going to have to learn some new tricks now. I hope they better not do away with stalls. I'm going to be peeved. That doesn't look very comfortable for women. I don't know. No comment on that. Okay, this one is, let's see if I should have pulled this one up in advance, but. It's enough looking at see if I can pull this one up. I think that's here. All right, this is the intro to Matrix. This is from Ernesto Alfredo Jara. Kill the sound. Intro to Matrix. Let's see. Where is it? All right, I'm going to make it larger so you can see it. Look at the what is scrolling here. I'm going to pull it back here so you can see it again. What is scrolling? It's probably not easy for you to see, but that is not what scrolled for me originally, and also not for Ernesto. What I remember scrolling at all points was zeros and ones only. But here, what's scrolling are, looks like Japanese letters or something. I've never seen that before. I don't speak Japanese, so I can't say for sure, but they're not zeros and ones. I've never seen anything that wasn't zeros and ones for this Matrix kind of a deal. So, good find for me. I agree that was zeros and ones. You know, what Ernesto just said is he didn't remember Japanese characters. I specifically remember it was zeros and ones. It made sense because it was machine code. That this doesn't make sense to me, the Japanese. The machine code makes sense to me. Sarah Pacifica, Pikachu, sea slug. Okay, and this one, now speaking of Pokemon, we now have a Pikachu sea slug. Very cute. Sarah Pacific Pikachu sea slug. Whoops, where did it go? No, now I'm not seeing it. Nope. Shoot, it was just there. Oh, I think it's Sarah. I can't read my own writing. Nope. Sarah. It's Sarah. Doink, there it is. The Pikachu sea slug. That one's hot off the ME presses for me. I've never seen that before. And you know, we've already got the ME where it doesn't have the spot on its tail. Pikachu doesn't. And now Pikachu's got a spot at the base of its tail, a brown spot. It used to have a black spot at the tip of the tail. Then it had no spot, and then it got a brown spot at the base of the tail. So that's the passage of the ME for me. And now we've got a sea slug that is a Pikachu sea slug. Blacktail for me. You can't be an old earther if you remember Blacktail. Oh yeah. I mean, what am I saying? You are an old earther if you remember Blacktail. And then remember no color, and then now it's brown spot. All Pokemons are coming to life. Shari D. Yes. But if you talk to skeptics, they'll tell you that Pokemons were named after real creatures. Very sneaky. Yeah, William Ross, check out Pikachu. He's got it's been a while he's had it. Pikachu. Brown spot. He better still have it or I'm going to be pissed because it's been there for a while. Like 6 months now, there's been a brown spot on his tail. There, see? Rachar. Brown spot on tail. I'm not sure, but I think he's got a little bit more zigzags on that tail than I remember too. I just remember like 2 or 3, not 4 zigzags. But see, almost all of them have the brown spot now. It's been there a while. He's got one on his butt too. Like at the base around the butt. So, yep. Ooh, look at this one. Oh, nope, he's got the brown spot also. I don't know if there's much residue anymore. Let's see what the costumes look like. Let's see if there's any more black tips. Nope, see, most of the residue's gone now. There's no more black tips. Look, every tip is, yeah. Look at that. There are no black tips. The longer an ME is in place, it seems like all the residue disappears. When they first came out with this ME, there was a lot of residue. But nothing now, nothing. Look. We're all going to be Pokemon masters in the next shift. Yeah, you know, the animals are getting really friendly. So, who knows? Yep, Cupid named after the real animal. That's what they're saying about Pokemons. It's like such a kick in the teeth, too. Tail wasn't that kinky. Exactly. Okay, I'm not crazy, Bill. I just don't remember that many bends in the tail. We just went over this meticulously a couple months ago. Yep. That one I'm going to take credit for. I am the first one that I know of that noticed the brown spot. I started talking about it at Retcon. Actually, it had to have been before this year because I noticed it before I had a channel. A couple months before I had a channel. So that's like 8 months ago that I first saw the brown spot. And it was just a few of them at first. I mean, Pikachu had some brown spots, but he didn't have it at the base of the tail for me. Because when the ME happened that the black spot was gone, I really looked at a lot of Pikachus. I mean, a lot of these things I became an expert on because of the ME. And so I've noticed continuing changes. Even if I didn't notice the first change as well, I really notice when the second change happens. Brown stripes look weird on back. Yeah, I don't remember like these, like this. I think I remember some little spots, but I don't remember it looking like a bee. The sirens are a big change for me. How could they be half woman, half bird? Shari D. Yeah, that was Unimundi's channel. That was a good find. Sirens were not half bird. I think what you're going to see now is more and more images of the bird sirens just sneaking in there. My artist children say that people draw them differently. That's such a vague statement. I mean, I guess you could just blow off anything with that. Were his cheeks that blushed reddened? I do remember seeing little cheek blushes things on them. I'm not sure if it was that dark or not. I can't comment on that one. Okay, so where are we? Okay, so one more. I have one left. Wow, I got through my whole pile. Okay. Iuni salt flats. All right, so these are real interesting. So, Iuni salt flat, I guess there's this huge area that is just covered with salt, and then it fills up with a tad of water, and then it becomes like the world's largest mirror. Several prehistoric lakes covered by a few meters of salt crust which has extraordinary flatness. And then it gets covered by water in a pool of brine. But the end result is beautiful pictures. Let's see if they'll show any of them on here. So there it is, all dry, I think. Let me pull up the images. So there's the images you get from this Uyuni salt flats. Now, I've just been seeing these images the last few months. I wasn't sure what it was from. But just beautiful. I don't think I had Uyuni salt flats in my old timeline. I mean, it's like a dream state, these salt flats. This is a huge area, too. So anyway, that is the, wow, look at that. It's dried up, it looks cool too. So I guess this is Bolivia. Yep, never heard of it. Oh, what's that? Oh, look, they've got colors and stuff too. Yeah. The pink lakes, the orange lakes. You could just sit on Google and just click and click and click until you go purple. Ugh, cookies. That's a nice image. Anyway, really cool. Uyuni salt flats. Green eyes on Kiss. Yeah, there was no green on Kiss. Agree with you there. I always thought bird women were harpies. Yep. That I agree with that one. I have never heard of sirens being birds until the last few months. I didn't hear of it until Unimundi did the video on his channel. Ocean dead zones. Yeah, I just started hearing about those the last couple years. I just can't take that stuff seriously anymore because it wasn't even there and suddenly it's there and then it's going to destroy us all, and other stuff that was going to destroy us all just disappeared and it's gone. There's always something that's going to destroy us all and then it's gone. I just recently saw the salt flat pictures. Also, it's weird how so many people pick up on the same MEs. Sean N. I mean, once you really start watching, anytime you see something really striking that you've never seen before, you get suspicious of it. And this stuff all hits viral at the same time. So there's a lot of us now going, wait a minute, that looks really cool and I never saw it before. So it doesn't surprise me at all. And, there's some that I wondered about and then I wasn't sure. And then other people put them up on their videos. And I'm like, yep. But then there's other things that you knew, but you just don't look at, like the Constitution of the United States. It's just not something I check all the time. So, whoops, where did it go? Green algae lakes in China. Let me see. Huh. I've seen some in the last 5 years. That's pretty neat. Wow. I mean, they'd say there's an algal bloom. Wow, look at that. Five Flowers Lake in China. God, look at the way that the water can be so blue now. It's just amazing. Look at that. The lakes are so much more beautiful. They in my old timeline, you didn't have this thing where the minerals would stain them. So, yeah, a lot of cool stuff in China. When I first started seeing these about 5 years ago, they said that it was like a sudden rare algal bloom, but it seems like their rare algal blooms happen like yearly now. I mean, at the time, I didn't even know about the ME, so I just, oh, wow. But now I don't trust any of it. They've always got some kind of excuse where there's a big bunch of weird. Star forts. Yeah, I agree. Those are new, but they've been covered. The star forts and that, the river bridges. That was a little older one. Yeah, never heard of those. It all goes viral and it's all stuff you've never seen. Yep. Yep. More colors and everything. I agree with you, Belinda. I guess it's safe to swim in. Well, I don't know. Everybody's swimming in it and they're all right. You know, I last I heard of those algal blooms, they were saying that it had medicinal powers, so beats me. Bill Burr does remember star forts, just not that many and not that complicated. I don't remember any star forts. It's because of the Rainbow Warriors. That's another one, those terracotta warriors. When they first came out, there was about 200 terracotta warriors. Now I think it's up to 2,000. I mean, even 200 seem like, oops, can't spell warriors. Even 200 seem like a lot. How many do they have now? And that was it. They had the 200. Oh, now they're up to 8,000 soldiers, 130 chariots, 520 horses, 150 cavalry horses, the majority of which remain buried in the pits. Other terracotta non-military figures were found in other pits, including officials, acrobats, strongmen, and musicians. It's getting ridiculous. Come on, there was just 200 of the damn things. Oh my God. Look at that image there. Yeah, no, that's not. It's just getting crazier and crazier. There's going to be like there's going to be like one terracotta, and it was warriors. It was terracotta warriors. Oh, now it's the terracotta army because there's like everybody's uncle in there. So that's how it starts. There's just a couple, then there's a few more hundred, and then there's 10,000 of the things. And it's not just warriors. And you got, oh, look at the terracotta horses. I actually haven't looked at this for a while, so it's just... they're better quality, too, than when I first saw them. Wow, look at those horses. Terracotta horses. I want to see the horses. Those are some nice looking critters. Their ears look like little horns, but look at that. Really nice. Look at those terracotta horses. Anyways, what a trip. This is what I can do all day. I just think of things and look them up, and then half the time it's a Mandela. Just think of stuff you used to know and then go check on it. Some of the soldiers still have paint on them. I think that might have been the case in my old timeline, but there's only 200 of them. They were all warriors back then. What was inhabiting this body when I wasn't in this body timeline? That one really gets me. I don't get, like, people say that my login name changed on Reddit. So somebody else was, did my memory change? or was there another me here before? That really that one just bugs me, because if there's other me's, or did I just combine with other me's and there's two of me stuck together now? I don't know. But that one I really wonder, where did the me that was here with a different spelling, what happened to that person? Well, anyways, it's 1:20 in the morning here, and I think it's time for me to cut on out, and it might be 11, 12, 1. Yeah, I've been on here 2 hours and 20 minutes, so it's probably time to go see if that Mandela effect thing is on the coast to coast radio show too. So check into that. Although I'm sure that all the top YouTubers will cover that in their channel. So anyway, I'm gonna check on out, and I should still be live Wednesday night as usual. Maybe it won't be as long a show, but I will still be up. So thank you all for coming. Let's see what we got up here. And so this is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.